Camera speeding. Action when you're ready. A little to your right. That's good. Now run straight. Now to your left. Camera cuts.
This is the final chapter of this film, which I've been working on since 2010. And just a little bit about kind of what it took to make this film. I mean, when I think back to its origin, I was living in Italy. I was out of work, and a friend of mine from the United States sent me a message, or actually sent a general message, posted it on the wall on Facebook. You know, telling the story of a guy in India. He's doing a race. I said, I'm really interested in this. It sounds like an amazing experience. Can I be part? And he's like, well, it's 4 weeks away. And I was like, well, there's no way. So the first race passed me by. And I figured I'll take the next year to regroup, go into 2011. And so I did just that.
2, 1.
Are you there, Barry?
Yes, I am. I'm recording this because I'm interested in kind of recalling this information, so I don't want to interrupt you while you're speaking.
Sure. All right. Okay. So did a recce in September, October 2009.
I remember calling Rajat via Skype once or twice, and at the time he had told me about what was happening about the 2010 race. And at the same time all this was going on, I also had been in touch with 2 Australian filmmakers, Cody Richardson and Andrew Jackson. I'm interested to hear more about what you kind of come across with the visa.
Yeah, I was just trying to get a feel for sort of what's acceptable, because I know there are some parts and they're a bit more strict about what can be photographed and not.
They were bringing a great deal of camera equipment that I didn't have. And I remember I was probably about a month or 3 weeks away from going, and I got a call from Cody, and he said that his visa to go to India had been rejected. I think if Cody and Andrew don't make it, I mean, really, it's comically tragic. I mean, I went from having like this pretty large film crew where I was like, wow, I can't believe this is coming together. I got 5, so there's going to be 5 of us. I'm going to have 2 camera teams to kind of what it is now. And at the time I didn't realize what that meant. But long story short, 3 weeks later I was getting on a plane, and this huge crew that basically was bringing all the gear, and I was showing up with a piddly little Panasonic GH2 that I was going to use for behind the scenes. And that was it. The whole crew fell through. Everything fell through. And all I had was the Panasonic. So here we are in the hotel in New Delhi. I'm in New Delhi. Just a little update on kind of what's been happening. Flew in here, been working for the last 6 months with 2 Australian guys. They got stuck in customs with their visas. Their visas didn't work. And so they got stuck in customs because they applied for journalist visas. So they're not going to make it. John here, myself, and Amar, the 3 of us, came together from Rajat, who is the race director, came together. We're putting this thing together anyways. We're heading up to Leh. We got all our gear laid out here. We've been prepping with all our gear. and we're heading up to Leh tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. We're getting on the plane and heading up with the runners. We're here in Leh. I'm here with John and Amar. The biggest issue is after crossing over from Leh is the acclimatization. Everyone's had headaches all day. I felt pretty good until just now. I started kind of having more of an acute headache, and the doctors have encouraged me to go to bed early. John's really strong. He's coming back. His headache's kind of gone away, but Amar, on the other hand, vomited 7 times a day. Very bad, huh? Doctors went in and checked on him, gave him some medicine, got him settled back down. I'm gonna be moving up to his room and sleeping in his room, so keep an eye on him, just give me an idea. It's difficult to really understand where you're at 10,000 feet because you're in a town, you're in a little city. So you don't really associate 10,000 feet with this little city, because usually 10,000 feet means that you're at the peak of some mountain. And you're out in tenting and you're camping and you've hiked to get there and you've prepared to get there. Whereas we flew in and we arrived here, we got off the plane and here we're at 10,000 feet. So it's a really interesting and dynamic experience, kind of taking this all on. We're adjusting the crew. Other than that, what is there to say? Tomorrow is 8 days from the race. So the runners are 8 days away from the race. It takes about 2 days to kind of come up to speed with acclimatization at 10,000 feet, and then they're going to start pushing into higher altitudes. We're going to start following them up into higher altitudes and prepping for acclimatization. I kept plugging away. Race was moving on. I was starting to get to know the runners. I was starting to get to know Molly. I was starting to get to know Ray. I was starting to get to know Jason Rita, who's another really great guy. And I remember one day where I kind of broke down and was just emotional and kind of talked about the values of really what I was doing and the things that are important in my life. I was working in television in the United States, and I'd had a really bad experience. I'd kind of burnt myself out, and I had a company that kind of also burnt me out a little bit. And I was in a place of searching for the right way. And so I went down to Costa Rica, and that's where I met my wife. I moved to Italy, and I was finishing up a project that I had filmed in the past. And I got an email from a friend who said there's this guy on Facebook. He posted on Facebook that I'm doing this race. It's the most amazing race. I don't know why someone isn't filming it. And that was a big moment for me, a big transitioning moment from kind of where I had this huge ego of I'm going in to do this film and I'm this great person with this crew of 4 people and big cameras and we're gonna be another great documentary, to like, I'm not. I'm just a guy with a little camera, and half these people think I'm a joke here, but I'm just gonna keep doing it. And then I got a hold of Mark Cockbain, who did it last year, and I had this amazing Skype interview with Mark Cockbain. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable, this guy's story. I'm going to go to England now after this, and I'm going to interview him, and because I think that last year is really the story, and this is the filler. Don't tell anyone I said that. That's between us. But I mean, his story was amazing, and I put it up on. I built a little Facebook page about the race, and I started trying to help the runners out. I put Mark Cockbane's interview on there so the runners.
On a trail for acclimatization, going up to 13,000 or 14,000 feet, then back down. Let's see. I've been in India for 7 days. We are 1 week away from the race itself. Currently we're doing some acclimatization. I've been having some serious problems. And I have to admit, when you invest in making a documentary, you have a dream and a vision and you go travel someplace to make it. And you put a lot of work into it and then you start struggling. Man, I'm struggling. I've been having breathing issues. At night I can't catch my breath. I lay down and I haven't slept probably more than total 6 hours in the last 4 days. I wasn't gonna go on this hike, but you just gotta push on. You're trying to make a project. You're trying to get footage of the runners.
It's August the 3rd. August the 3rd. We've been working on getting all the runners in for interviews, which hasn't been easy. These guys are coming and going. The schedules are up and down, and that kind of adds a little level of stress when it comes to making this piece, because we're looking at a limited number of days before the race. We want to set everybody down for interviews. Altitude sickness, been feeling heavy in the chest and in the stomach, and I think everyone is.
I mean, I flew in. Acclimatization hit me pretty hard. My head was hurting, pounding. 4 nights I didn't. 3 nights after we left. The first night when we left, we woke up at 2 a.m., 2:30 to fly here, so I didn't sleep that night. I got here, and due to acclimatization, I didn't sleep the first 3 nights, really more than 2 hours. Can't really see the watch. Day 11 here. We're in a camping spot. The breathing issues that I had last time I spoke have gone, have dissipated. And now we're in the last throes, 11 hours to go before race day. Then it's a 60-hour stretch. 48 to 60 hours with very little sleep.
We have 9 minutes and we're ready to go. We need to scale themselves or weigh themselves. And yeah, it's pretty good. The whole gang here, I think 1 vehicle's missing. That's about it.
It was time for the race to start. And for the race I had geared up with a guy named Tashi. And Tashi had brought a bike, and I had planned to ride backwards on a bike like it was the Tour de France. I was going to be riding the Tour de France style, shooting these runners and really giving the viewer this amazing experience with my little Panasonic GH2. And I was riding backwards the night before, practicing on this bike. And I just thought, this is insane. And we were whipping through these hills, and there's no hospital. Things go bad there, it's done. You're not gonna get out. And I'm riding backwards, shooting this thing with these huge clips, and just praying that that Tashi's doing the right thing. Most often when we're passing cars or cars are passing us, because it's like a 1-lane highway. So, anyways, I'm on the bike backwards, day of the race. I'm getting these great shots. I'm following it, and the race is going on, and it's a great experience. I'm getting tons of coverage. I'm hitting every runner, and I'm following this amazing race experience. I remember, wanting to follow Molly in her return to the race, but she had fallen behind. I wasn't sure if she was going to finish. I remember a moment kind of just being so bummed out about that.
So I'm leaving Molly. I feel horrible about it. I needed to meet her at the top, but she's so far behind I'm gonna lose the entire race. Sorry, Molly.
And I remember particularly one moment when we were driving down the backside of Kardungla, and we passed a truck very close to a cliff. And I said, I could feel Tashi afterwards was very tense. And I turned to Tashi and I said, Tosh, was that close? And he was just like, yeah. And I knew at that moment, like, it was time to stop riding the motorcycle.
Yes, I am good. You want me to get off?
So I ditched the motorcycle and I had a van with crew in it, and we had this whole system set up where where we could, so that we could shoot and stay mobile all night, and I was following the race through the night. And I remember, like, at one point I was out there alone. I was jumping from crew car to crew car because my crew needed to sleep, and I was following Sharon Gator as she was running, and I was following Ray as he was running, and following Jason Rita, and I just was blown away at these athletes that were running this race. I mean, what these guys are putting themselves through, and the fact that they could keep going after so many hours. I remember Ray and Sharon both just blowing me away, and that race kind of came to a close.
Well done, Sharon. Well done, Sharon.
All right, so where are we at? We're in Northampton. We flew here from Rome, me and Lars. Flew here from Rome yesterday. But we're here and we are waiting. In about 10 to 20 minutes, we're going to be sitting down and interviewing with Mark Cockbain. Pretty excited about that. So I returned to Italy at the end of the 2011 race. And I began to go through the footage, and I began to kind of create this idea of what I wanted to make this project into. And at one moment, I kind of cut this piece where it was going to be Mali returns and some footage of the old years and some footage of the 2011 race. And people said, "Well, no, I'm kind of confused." And then I had all these different ideas. I was trying to flesh out what I wanted to do, but in the back of my mind, I wanted to do this 2010 race. In the meantime, I had gotten a hold of some archive footage that Rajat had sent me, and I'd gone through the archive footage. And I was like, well, there's quite a bit here. There's enough here to make a story. Maybe if I get the interviews, I can make a story of this 2010 race. So anyways, there was one thing that I knew, that if I was going to make the 2010 race, I needed to get a solid interview, because the interview I had with Molly wasn't complete, because I wasn't focused on the 2010 race. I was focused on the 2011 race. So I planned to travel up to England, London, England, and meet Mark. Yeah, well, why don't we start out with, if you start out, just to kind of start out the piece with you, introduce yourself, and I don't know, your what you do and where you live or something like that.
Yeah. Mark Cockbain from Northampton. I'm an engineer. I've been doing that for 20 years now, and got into running in 1997.
Well done, dude.
So I just stomped across the avalanche, and I thought straight through the middle of the army guys, and I thought I've just got to get to the top.
So I took this interview with Mark and I mixed together kind of an outline of the 2010 race, and I set a goal to raise, I think it was like $6,000.
So why don't you tell us who you are and what the project is about?
So I made the Kickstarter, I raised the funds, and I started prep for going back. In the process, I moved from Italy to the US. So all this is going on. I've got to go to India for a month. I'm moving to New York, and I don't have the money now because of the move to really go back to India. So there's a lot at stake again. And this time, you know, I'm sitting there going, is everything going to fall through again? Because it had fallen through in 2011 with my entire crew. So I moved to New York, and as life would have it, sometimes, you know, things just work out. And there's an element of faith, and there's an element of like, this is amazing, and there's an element of like miraculousness to this project, because I got a job with the NHL that was a short-term contract that paid very well, and in a matter of 3 months, it was finished. And in the process, I met a young DP, James Huron, and he agreed to go with me to India. So me and James are on board, and we're going to go to India. I storyboarded the entire thing out. I made this horrific storyboard, but at least I kind of outlined and knew exactly what I wanted to shoot and when, and I set out to go back, and me and James, this time my cameraman was able to make it, and we went back to India.
So here we are. This is year 2, 2012. I am back in New Delhi with my sidekick here, James Huron. He's going to be doing camera work. We spent 2 days on the plane, flew into Paris, then we flew into New Delhi. We got here last night around midnight. Took a taxi here to Rajat's beautiful flat in New Delhi, and
Sweet. We flew here.
Yeah. So here we are on the set of the documentary, and I am striking the lights in Rajat's. There we go. And here's our main actor, Rajat Chauhan.
This is Chitin. Chitin just was able to achieve a great objective, which was to get some props of military gear.
Barry had intelligence guys behind him, so it was a tough rescue mission, but he's fine.
We are awake at 4 in the morning to shoot the morning exteriors. And if you listen to the mosque at 4 in the morning, broadcasting.
It's 110 degrees, 100% humidity, we say, maybe 200%. I'm pretty sure that's possible. Been outside for less than 5 minutes. I can already feel just the gallons of sweat pouring over my fat.
Molly and Bill arrive on the 21st, and we will go into the hospital here in, we're going into a hospital of a friend of Raja. It's like a hospital type room, and we are setting up kind of a scene of Bill and Molly getting sick. He's crunched over, kind of where we went black on. And he's hunched over like this. I thought we said he was going to be like this, and she was going to be down there.
No, he was going to be lying. Why would he be sitting up? Shouldn't he be lying on the bed?
And then after that, basically on the 22nd, we are flying to Leh, and that's when kind of some of our bigger challenges will kind of arise with power for lights and interviews.
So now we're back in India. I'm dealing with a little bit of the acclimatization issues again, a little bit of difficulty with sleep, but right away I got on the Diamax and we started moving forward.
Here we are.
Yeah,
4 o'clock in the morning. We left at 4 in the morning, got up at 5:45 with Rajat and Vijay to this amazing place. And we got a time-lapse shot of the sun coming up, and then these guys are going to do Rajat running scene.
You know, the thing is I can't say enough about the experience of the region, because culturally, you know, when you talk about goat herders and military checkpoints and tons of military and these beautiful stupas, and I randomly came up on this boy who had a flute, who worked on the side of the road, these kids from Pakistan that would come to India to lay, and they were working on the side of the road, and I don't even know where they stayed. Maybe a truck came and picked them up and took them down and took them up. Some people stayed in tents, random tents along the way. Some people would stay in tents around 14,000, 15,000 feet for weeks on end to work on the side of this road just to maintain it. And it was just like phenomenal. I mean, women that were throwing rocks in the back of trucks or stirring up tar. And, you know, this whole area is just, I mean, there's so many things that just kind of blow you away when you go there. So I'm back. I'm taking all this in. Fortunately, I have a little bit more time, kind of logging a little bit more this time of the experience. I want to do a handheld shot of him changing just hat, like we did a change. He's going to change his hat and his shorts, because from here on he's going to be wearing the desert hat.
Sure.
It'll take like 2 minutes.
A little too tired, a little too deserty. Don't say more than that. No worries. Thank you.
You ready? Call action.
Barry, what's up?
Rajat,
Yes, sir.
here we are.
We're in the middle of nowhere right now. It's pretty cool. That's how this run is all about, in the middle of nowhere.
What are we working to do the next 2 days?
Next 2 days we're recreating. It's making of Lal Ultra High. We're going towards Tanglangla. Then we'll go to Whiskey Nala, Brandy Nala, probably Beer Nala as well.
Yeah, we'll have a good time over there.
And this dude, he's the dude.
I think the biggest turning point in that particular shoot was when the night we shot for, I think, you know, the day we shot for 36 hours or so over Tangling La. It's kind of I kind of feel like, unless you have a better idea, it's a car moving, VJ driving type thing.
It should be from where it's where I shot the two of you and you were stumbling.
We went through the night. You know, it was like 1 a.m. We were on top of Tangling La. The wind was howling. We were all freezing. We were all tired. We shot the scene of Mark reaching Tangling La, and then we drove down that night. We had to shoot another scene, and we were just exhausted. And now we're sleeping at 14,000 feet in this tent, and it was just such a crazy, surreal experience.
Here we are, 6 in the morning in the Moree Plains. Woke up at 4 in the morning, freezing our tails off. Everyone's really excited to be up this early working, 2 days straight, but we're getting it done. Now Rajat and VJ are going to do some stunt driving.
I remember kind of pushing through that experience, and that was kind of the turning point. At that point, I said, we're going to make this thing. It's going to happen, you know, and we kind of got the shots we needed to do, and that was kind of a wrap.
Come here, yeah, come here. This is behind the scenes of The High, the documentary, the making of the toughest race on Earth.
The making of.
The making of the toughest race on Earth.
How has this project changed me? Probably, I will not push myself this hard ever again.
Last night I woke up after an hour of sleeping, sucking for air, feeling like I was suffocating, and that went on for about 3 hours until I fell asleep around 3 a.m.
Making this thing has been brutal. Never stop working. I can't believe it. And be glad when it's over.
Today was a little bit of a discouraging day. The hot effing heat has finally hit us all. And we did an interview with Rajat in about a 111 degree room, and we finally just canceled the interview.
But my perspective on documentary work, this is easily the biggest stepping stone to date, and may possibly be the biggest stepping stone that I will ever make in documentary work.
It's August the 3rd. I've been in India for 7 days.
Acclimatization hit me pretty hard.
We are 1 week away from the race itself.
And I was in a place of searching.
11 hours to go before race day. So I'm leaving Mali.
Well done, Chad. So why don't you tell us who you are and what the project is about?
So here we are. This is year 2, 2012.
In the middle of the desert shooting Mark Cockbain scenes.
Camera speeding, action when you're ready.
Greatness cannot be achieved without struggle.
Everyone's real excited to be up this early working 2 days straight. And so with that, I think that's basically the story.